Welcome again in Learning Java. Today we are going to learn what an array is, why it is used, types of arrays, etc. So moving on to this session. What is an array? An array is a data type which is a type of a reference data type which we have learned earlier under the different types of data types, which is used to store a homogeneous collection of values. So an array would be more helpful if we want to store a large amount of values under one data type efficiently. So why an array is used? So let's consider a scenario where we have to store the details of 50 students in one place. So storing 50 students in one place would not be sufficient by declaring each and every variable with a particular data type and giving a particular value to it. Instead of doing that, we can store different values such as student ID, 50 student ID in int data type under the array variable, 50 different names of these students under string array variable, like that. So I hope you have understood what an array is and why it is used and where it can be used more efficiently instead of declaring it as a local variable. So moving on to this session, I will show you how to declare an array, initialize an array, how to work with the array, etc. But before that, we need to know what are the types of arrays that exist. There are three types of arrays. They are: one is one-dimensional array, second is two-dimensional array or multi-dimensional array, and third is jagged array. One-dimensional array is also called as linear array, where we will store only a particular value considering only to one dimension, meaning that we have discussed earlier, like if you want to store the details of the ID of 50 students, we can use a linear array consisting of an int data type where we will store the IDs. So this is an example of one-dimensional array. The second example would be that for second dimensional array that we will consider as matrix multiplication and matrix addition. The matrix is consist of rows and columns. So row is one attribute and column is one dimension. Both make a two dimension. So the best example for a two dimension would be matrix operations. So in matrix operation, the two most popular operations that we are considering here is one is the matrix addition and other is the matrix multiplication. The third type, which we call as jagged arrays, is used to store where the type of the dimensions is not specified in the first order itself. As I have said, in the two-dimensional array, I will specify the rows and columns simultaneously. But in case of jagged array, it is not done so. We will specify first the number of rows, and inside each row we can specify as many columns. It need not to be that the same number of rows should be has the same number of columns. The number of rows and the number of columns may differ. For each row, I may define any number of columns. So for example, if I have 5 rows, for first row I can define 3 columns, for second row I can define 6 columns, like that. So hope you have understood what are the types of arrays and the short examples of that. We will move on to have the declaration of each types of arrays. So first I will start with the one-dimensional array. So I will create a class, new class. So one-dimensional array. Inside that we have to write the main method. So In the previous session, we have discussed how to get inputs from the user. We will use here also the same function, but wait, we will first go step by step. We will first understand how to declare an array. So, the main point in array is you can store only a particular value. You cannot store heterogeneous values. You can store only homogeneous values, meaning that if you want to store the details of the student pertaining to their IDs, it is an int data type. So you can store in one array only the details of the ID and not the ID, name, etc. in one array has a combination. So if you are declaring an array has int data type, you can use it as an int array, and the value stored under it will be considered only as an int, not a float, double, string, etc. So it is called as homogeneous values. So now we will see how to declare a one-dimensional array. So the syntax is, I will write the syntax first. So data type, array symbol, then a variable name, so this is the syntax for declaring an array variable. So in practical, if I am using the data type as int, then an array symbol, a variable name I am using as my array, equals. So this is the way how to declare an array variable. If you know what the size of the array you are going to declare, then you can use it using the new keyword. Otherwise, if you only know the values and don't know what the number of the elements that you are going to store, then you can initialize it using the curly braces. We will see both of it. First, we will see how to initialize it. The first way is to use the new keyword. So the initialization and the declaration can be done at the same step. So data type, array symbol, variable name, equals new keyword, then the data type, again the array symbol, and inside this array symbol I am going to specify the size. So an example would be int array1 I will use equal to new int of size I am using it as 20. So this is the first type of declaring and initializing an array at the same statement. If you only know the values, then you can use it under the curly braces. So data type, variable name. So declaration is done. Variable name, equals curly braces, and inside this you have to specify val1, val2, val_n. So this is the way. If you know the values, so this is the way, if you know the values that you are going to store but doesn't know the size, you can declare like this. The syntax is there. I will show you the real one. Array2 equals 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. there is a specific function. So there is a property of an array called length, which is used to calculate the length of the array that we are going to declare. So we will see that also. So if you want the length of the array and store it in a third variable, then you can do like this: int len equals array 2 dot length. So I don't know what is the size of the array. The size of the array usually is the number of elements. So 10 is one element, 20 is another element, 30, 40, 50. So I have 5 elements. So the size of the array, that is length of the array, would be 5. If I print it and show you, so see the output. Okay. And yes, the 5 is displayed here. So if you want to access each and every element of the array index starts from 0 and goes until len minus 1. That is length minus 1. So there is another way of initializing an array. If you want to initialize the array at every step, you can do like this: int array 1 equals. So the index first would be 0, so 10. So initialization could be done also like this: 1 equals 70. So instead of 20, I can specify the size, suppose as 4. So I have to include 4 elements. So 2 equals 80 and 3 equals 90. The length minus 1 is the last element. So the length of the array is 4. Length minus 1, 4 minus 1, 3 is the last element in this array. So this also is valid initialization. So next we will see how to print the array variables. You have stored some values in the array variables. Now you have to print it. So you have to use a for loop for this. The looping condition is used so because you have to do the same operation again and again until the length of the array. That's why the looping statement is used here. There are two types of looping statements that are used. One is the normal for loop that we have discussed earlier in the looping statements. The next is the enhanced for loop or for each loop. I will show you both of it. So to access the values of the array, you can use first I will give you the syntax. So for first the initialization. So I will start with the 0. I'll show you as it is. So for int I equals 0 initialization, then the condition. So the condition would be array 1 dot length. Next is I plus plus increment. So I have to print each and every element. For this I am using system.out.println array of I. So this for loop will print me each and every value that is stored in the array variable one by one by incrementing the loop. So we will see the output. Run. Okay. Wait 1 second. And yes, we will run it and see the output. Wait for it. I will give here println so you will be more clear. The first statement, that is printing 5, is the size that we have printed earlier. The next elements are printed each at every new line since we have given println. So 60, 70, 80, 90. It starts from 0 and goes to the elements one by one and prints it. So instead of using this for loop, we can use another for loop which I have told you, enhanced for loop. So for enhanced for loop, I will first tell you the syntax. So for, you have to use the data type that you have earlier used for declaring the array variable, data type, then a variable name colon array variable name. So this variable name is different and this variable name is different. The array variable name is this that we have used here, and this variable will name you can give at your choice. So I'm giving for an example, for data type is int, then the variable I'm using has each colon then array 1. So under it I am giving it system.out.println each. So wait, I will show you this output alone so you can better understand it. So I am commenting the other statements that would be a hindrance to it. And yes, 60, 70, 80, 90. The values are printed one by one. In case of for each loop that you are going to use, it is enough if you declare the variable name inside the printing statements, inside the for loop I mean, enough. It is enough not to declare it as we have used like this in the normal for loop. There is another method called sort which is used to sort the variable. For arrays in Java, it is an inbuilt method, so you can use like arrays dot sort of array 1. It's enough if I give like this, it will sort me the array. Since I have written the sorted statement, I will first give an unsorted array, like I'm shuffling the array 80, 70, 40 and 10. So if I print it and show you the output, wait for a second. It is showing me an array. So for this I have written this statement to sort the array. To show the output I have to again write the for statement. So I have written it and I will show you the output. And yes, the array is sorted 10, 40, 70 and 80. I have given the array values like this. It has been sorted. So in next session, I will show you the two-dimensional arrays and jagged arrays. Here ends our session. Hope you have understood. Thank you again for listening.